Okay, I just felt like talking about this issue. It happens in Southern California, and people think it doesn't happen because a lot of people here drive, okay? And they love their cars, but not everybody drives. And now with Uber, you can take Uber everywhere. I feel like it's so weird that, well, I've just had so many occasions where people act like, oh, well, you could go, like, where's your car? And just, it's called car discrimination because maybe not everybody wants to drive. And I think, honestly, if you're a truck driver, I get it, like saying that you should be able to drive as part of the job description, but it is kind of discriminatory when they say, oh, well, you need to be able to drive to do this and that. Well, what if you just don't want to have a car? What if you don't want to have a car? What if you are an anxious driver? A lot of different things. Because, I did try to drive once upon a time, and there's reasons I don't drive because I felt sick when I would get behind the wheel, and I just personally don't want to drive. A lot of younger people today, like in California, the housing rate is crazy. And it's just so ridiculous that they act like, well, everybody should have a car, but yet on the same token, they keep saying that they're going to make the train better. And now we have Uber. I'm just thinking, like, stop discriminating against people because they don't have a car, and stop acting like everybody's have a car. It's weird. Like, but we can never talk about these issues because Californians think they're perfection on earth. They think that they're a very tolerant society, but there's a lot of things about California, Southern California to be precise, that is not tolerant. And it's not the things that they would see. It's the fixation on cars. It's the fixation on thinking that everybody wants to drive all the time. Look, I walk home from work. Is it dark outside sometimes? Yeah, it is. But I don't care because I like to walk and I feel careful. I feel safer walking. And I take Uber a little bit less nowadays just because, well, they want us to social distance. And occasionally, rarely, I take the bus. But I walk everywhere I need to go. And it gets me to where I need to go, and that's fine. And it's funny that right now everybody's sad about the gym being closed, but it really didn't faze me one tiny bit because I thought, well, you can walk for transportation. And I don't think everybody should have to feel like they have to drive to go places. So every time you look at a job description, and it's not a driving job, and they're like, must drive, I'm like, if you can take Uber and get there, and Uber is a service, and you want to pay for the service of Uber, and there's drivers who make money doing that, I feel like in a place like here that's populated, that should be acceptable. But Californians who think they're so tolerant are some of the least tolerant people in the country. How do I know this? From living here in Southern California, there's a lot of nice people, but usually there's a lot of intolerant people, and part of it is this fixation on car culture. And when they say, well, you could just go to your car and do something, I'm like, you crazy? No, you're just intolerant. But they think they're very, very tolerant. There's a lot of intolerance in this world from people who think they're the most tolerant people. A hallmark sign of an intolerant person is when you think maybe some people should never share about like their culture. Like, I want to tell you right now, if anybody feels like, I feel sad when I hear that some people feel like they can't share about their culture. I think every culture has beauty to it, and I think all cultures should be celebrated. I was a history major. I love to hear about all cultures. If you don't, like, if you're the kind of person that thinks, well, we can't talk about this one culture because that isn't right, like, you're very offensive, okay? Like, let people live their lives. If we want to study history and learn about different cultures, that's fine. And I feel like true diversity, true acceptance comes from these people that are open to other ideas. But what do I find? The people who claim to be the most tolerant and the most open-minded usually are not. Like, I don't want to like stereotype, but like usually, like if you're really hardcore, well, here's one thing I don't like. I'm not conservative. I'm not a conservative person. But oh, is there like a person that's not white in a conservative political party? Like I am not a conservative at all. But I see white people say really racist things to people who are conservative. And I am by no stretch of the imagination conservative, okay? Like just honestly my political I am probably what you call a classical liberal where I'm very pro civil liberties, but wanting more fiscal fiscally economically sound good policy. But I'm not like even though I have libertarian leanings, I'm not completely because I do think, well, we pay taxes and I think that the tax structure is gonna need to be a little bit more fair. Like, well, here's one thing. Why do some businesses get privileges over other businesses in this era? Like, oh, they were following the rules, but this business didn't follow the rules and they give money to this one business and take it from another. I don't think that's fair. I think if you're going to give money to one business, you have to give money to all the businesses. You can't just be like, oh, well, we don't like them. They didn't do it the right way. And it's just like the whole like tattletale state where people are tattling on somebody because, well, oh, guess what? Somebody didn't wear a mask at that business. We're going to take money away from that business and give it to this business because they're good. Well, I always wear the mask at work and I follow that rule, but a lot of the people that say they're hardcore, really, really hardcore about it, don't always follow the rule. They don't. Like, they make exceptions for themselves, but yet they like to judge others. And anytime it comes down to, oh, I do it the best and you don't do it as good, there's a problem, and that's a fallacy. But I've decided to leave it to the universe to decide because you know what? I don't really care anymore if people want to play their little game where they feel some people are better than others or they want to like use the coronavirus as a reason to discriminate against someone who doesn't drive a car to make them feel like, well, you can just like, there's a lot of weird things going on right now. Just weird things like, and Californians are just not the most tolerant people. Can I just lay it out on the table? That's the truth. Like I find maybe people in the Midwest who are libertarian, like they tend to be more open-minded to different viewpoints. Like they wouldn't judge somebody for not driving, but here in California, you'll hear somebody say, oh, well, why don't you drive? Like that's rude. And Californians will never fix themselves on this issue because they don't want to. They think that they're perfection, but they're not. That's not perfection. Like anybody who says that to somebody, I would say, I don't think that's right. And I've had people say that to me on multiple occasions, and I'm like, okay, I don't drive because I don't want to, but thanks for making me have to tell you the reason. It's like, okay, not driving, even though you could do many different things, and that's not part of your job description, or like getting to an event, not driving. Well, right now they're trying to make everybody socially isolate in their car. And if you don't have a car, they look down upon you because you can't socially isolate to their liking. And something about having a vehicle, having a car, being able to socially isolate in your car makes people feel comfortable. And if you can't do that, if you're homeless or if you don't drive or many different things, this throws a kink. Like this is just a new made up thing. Although a lot of people who drive cars who can socially isolate in the car are still going to get COVID-19 because they're going to go other places where they're near people. But for some reason, having your own car makes you superior. Like if somebody has to take mass transit, they look down upon people now because, oh, they might be near people, but yet the person in their car might make a choice to go do something that's not social distancing over somebody who has to take mass transit to get to work because that's their only option. And it's discrimination. But in Southern California, they're using COVID-19 as a reason to discriminate against people. It's weird. But I've decided rather than worry about it, I'm just going to say, you know what? I don't suffer hypocrisy very well. Like, if you're going to be a hypocrite, I'm going to note it. I'm like, not everybody can socially isolate in their car. And, on the 4th of July, too, yes, I get it. They can't have state-sponsored fireworks. But now, if you can socially isolate in your car, you can go see the fireworks, but other people can't. And there's just a lot of things. So, because of a virus, even though people who are socially isolating in their car, get this. This is the part that's the truth. They're going to be driving more, going more places because they have the ability to do that. So they're going to actually be socially isolating less than somebody who has to walk, who can't go as many places. That's the irony of all that, unless like this person's an uber superstar. They're gonna be like mingling more with people, but the whole thing about this whole idea that you can socially isolate in your car, it makes people feel more comfortable. But it's not really true, because you could be socially isolating in your car to, like, I don't know, eat some food, but then later you go somewhere else. So it makes absolutely no sense. It's discrimination against groups of people who don't drive or don't want to drive. And it's just all this irony that people use any new thing to reaffirm their discrimination. But they're not discriminatory. Oh, no, sorry, bobbers. But yes, they are. Anytime somebody says to you, why don't you drive? My new response is, why do you care? You shouldn't care what I do. Like, to be honest with you, not driving has never kept me from getting anywhere I need to go. I would love to do like an edited video about that one day, maybe on my other channel. I'm actually for better transportation, for better public transportation, like trains and stuff. I've always loved the train. And you could charge for it, but make it better like it used to be in the old days. I think that would be awesome. But I have a feeling the social isolation crowd hates the train because, it means people will be in close proximity to each other. I think what it is it doesn't matter if you're liberal or conservative. A lot of people just think driving a car is better. And if you're not driving a car, you're just not as good as they are. Kind of, rant. Well, you don't have to drive a car to be happy. Not everybody wants to drive a car. Many people have various reasons for why they don't drive a car. Believe it or not. But here's another thing to keep in mind. Rent is so expensive in California. Driving a car is another expense. So maybe for some people, and I've heard some people say this, if it came down to having a place to live or driving a car, maybe having a place to live outranks driving a car. What if you're homeless? You're not going to have money for a car. There's just so many variables, but, driving a car is, look, I have nothing against people driving a car. Most people want to drive a car. That is everybody's right, but it's just funny. People don't realize that, hey, other groups of people could be discriminated against, and the people who claim to be very for equality might be doing a lot of discriminating. But it's okay in this situation this is the ironic part. It's okay to discriminate if you're doing it against a group of people that you think are not as desirable, like for some reason. Like if it's against homeless people kind of, they don't care. They will be okay, like maybe looking down upon them. And this has been a big thing for years and years and years in Southern California, where this one business had a charity where they gave food and clothing to homeless people. But there were reviews for a restaurant across the street, okay, that the experience of eating your noodles was disrupted by seeing a homeless man get his charity. I mean, do you know how disgusting that review is? It's like, so you have the luxury to be able to go out to eat and buy this really nice bowl of noodles, like that probably might, I don't know, be money that a family could feed themselves on with groceries in some circumstances. You have that luxury, which is your American right. I don't care if people do that. But this is the part when you start looking down on other people and you're like, oh, but that person, like if I see like somebody like digging through a dumpster when I'm eating my dinner, that just ruins it for me. I'm like, really? Are you kidding me? But it's a pervasive view, a very pervasive view. And I think with the economy going down, people are gonna have to reconcile some of these views. But right now, everybody wants everybody to isolate, and they're kind of reinforcing some of these views. And a lot of it comes with the, oh, do you drive? You have your own car. You can go do something outside in your car. Oh, you don't have a car? Oh my God, why? You don't get to ask somebody why they don't drive, in my opinion. And I don't know, I'm just thinking, all these people that are so worried about discrimination out there, why don't they think about these kind of things? Like so many different things on a daily basis. Like honestly, I don't feel sad or put out about it, but I just think, so would it be okay to ask someone why they don't dye their hair? Would it be okay to ask someone why they don't shop at a certain store? But when it comes to transportation, even though somebody might be more punctual than people who drive cars, like irony of ironies, you can be a pedestrian and just always be on time and have this like burning panic if you're late anywhere. Like it's just been that encoded in you. You leave earlier than everybody else. Like you are so obsessive with being on time. You will push yourself to the hilt to always be on time. And that, I think punctuality and just showing that you're like reliable trumps being able to drive a car. Like in my opinion, like if a job says you need to drive a car, I get it. Like if you're a delivery person or if you need to run errands. But I just think, like in other circumstances, if you can take Uber, there's a lot of Uber drivers that want to be paid, and there's people who want to pay for that service. And that's where the free market comes in. And that's why I like services like Uber over the taxi, because in the old days, if you had to take a taxi, like the taxi wouldn't want to come pick you up because they'd be like, well, we don't have to. We're a big taxi company. We pick up who we want. Like, and sometimes, here's another thing. If it was a woman, this is true, okay? There were some men that started working for a taxi cab company, and this man told me about it, that were newly from the Middle East, and they didn't think that women should be traveling alone. So they weren't picking women up. And that's not made up. I had a taxi cab driver tell me that. You know, he said that sometimes they wouldn't want to pick up a woman if they knew it was a woman who had called, or if it wasn't like a big driving route. Whereas with Uber, a lot of people are driving. That was just one experience I had. Other ones, it was just like these older white guys, they just didn't want to come pick you up. And sometimes the same thing, because you're a woman. But with Uber, you don't have that problem. Like, nobody's like, oh my God, we can't pick you up. They actually want to work. So in a free market, I say Uber wins out over, like, I just think there's a lot of things in society people don't realize are discriminatory, and they give themselves a free pass on that. So it's just good to have an open mind. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching.